Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Warrior Commission Now, where we talk about practical ways to live out your warrior commission now, in this moment in time, in your day-to-day, as you grow in your relationship with God. I am Christine Casten.
And I am Sharon Rudolph.
And we are very excited to just continue the conversations with you. We call these broadcasts because that's what they're called, but to me, they're really just informal chats that Sharon and I are continuing to have over the course of a variety of topics, with the thought in mind that that God is so amazing and gracious, and that as people step into what it is to be a kingdom warrior, they're going to develop and discover their unique commission that God has created and designed them to carry out within his Great Commission. So if you guys would like more development and more training in that, we would love to see you join us at thewarriorcommission.com. We have been around for almost 10 years now, and we continue to see God move in people's lives, and just great transformation, great freedom, and a great confidence that rises into each of their lives. So we would love for you guys to connect with us with that. So today's topic really has to do with transformation, speaking of that. And so when we talk about transformation, one of the things that, immediately comes to mind is the idea of having the mind of Christ, and so there are multiple scriptures about having the mind of Christ. 1 Corinthians 2:16, who has understood the mind of the Lord so as to instruct him, but we have the mind of Christ. And then Romans 12:1-2 is really where we're going to camp out. That's really what kind of our inspiration verses are, but also Philippians 2:5, 1 Corinthians 2:13-16, and 2 Timothy 1:7 are all passages that talk about having the mind of Christ. But Sharon, when we talk about having the mind of Christ, we kind of have to start from almost the base of who we are, which has to do with our identity. And I would love for us to explore that for a little bit. What identity really is, what true identity really is in Christ. And would love for you, as our director of member development, I would love for you to talk more about that, because that's such a key component of what you do and see on a day-to-day basis.
It is so precious and valuable to know how God sees us, and to know how he designed us.
Yeah.
And he has a plan that goes beyond our comprehension. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter what our actual history is on the planet. Doesn't matter who our parents were or are. Doesn't matter what job we have. The key question is, how does God see me? Mm-hmm. And that's where identity comes from.
Right.
Because he is a good father. Mm-hmm. And he has empowered us mm-hmm. to be this person. And yet oftentimes circumstances in life get in the way.
Yes, of us they do.
God created us to be. Makes a huge difference. But the mind of Christ, there is this synergy that is possible when we agree with what God says mm-hmm. about us, about other people, about the planet. Yeah. And that was something Jesus did. He said, I only do what I see the Father doing. I only speak what I hear the Father saying. Mm-hmm. That's the mind of Christ. Mm-hmm. And that's what we have access to as believers in Jesus. And every day we have the option and the freedom to choose the way Jesus thinks instead of the way we thought before. Mm-hmm. And that's where identity comes in. Mm-hmm. The more we agree with what Papa's saying, what Jesus is saying, the more we walk out and live in our true identity.
Mm-hmm. That's
and
good.
There's power and authority in that.
There is, absolutely. And it's really tapping into the way God sees us is the way he designed us to be.
Yeah.
So sometimes people can have a skewed understanding of how does God see me? because
Right.
we expect him to see us through shame and through all the things that we didn't do right and all the things that we missed, and and just kind of all the negatives. But
Right.
God sees us for who he created us to be.
Yes.
And that is what, when we talk about how does God see us, he sees the core of who we are. He sees the person he created that he wants to draw forward into a fullness, rather than living a part life, rather than living a shadow life, if you will, where we're a mix of true identity and false identity, things people have spoken over us that weren't true, that we've received and accepted as part of who we are. But as we step into that fullness, we step into, and that's really part of, I believe, the transformation that we see in the Warrior Commission, as people go through the different training that we have, as they connect with each other, not through what they do, not through what they've achieved, but through who they are, through the heart to heart. There's something that happens in that where God moves and he just brings us into this place that is beyond what we were when we first started. And that's very exciting to me. That's that constant joy of the wow, and the awe of God. But I think that part of the whole reason we step into that place of identity and connect with God through that, so that we can do what we see the Father do and say what we hear the Father say, which is the mind of Christ, is that we have a pure perception of life through God's eyes. And could you share a little bit about what your thoughts are on that? What that looks like or how that works?
I think with the mind of Christ, we have access to a better perception and receiving of the nature of God and who God really is.
Yeah.
And with that comes the fruit of the Spirit, because Jesus embodied the fruit of the Spirit. He lived in the fruit of the Spirit. That was his normal every day. And that's where he wants us to live. That's what we were designed to produce, our own flavor of that. But what I think is really exciting in this exploration of the mind of Christ is truly the nature of God and who he is for us. And depending on who taught what from the Bible, you get these really skewed different perceptions of who God is.
Yeah, that's true.
He is always kind, and he is love. So then we get into the definitions of words. The definitions of word. Who gets to say what love is? Who gets to say what God's kindness is? And Jesus understood what that was. And so I love how when you read the Gospels, you see the nature of God in action.
Yeah,
it's not just airy-fairy word definitions. It's the nature of God in action. Jesus would touch the leper. That's the love of God. Jesus was patient with his own disciples. That's the love of God.
Even Peter.
Yes. So I would really want to encourage people to continue to press into the scriptures, continue to use the Bible as that litmus. But look at the Gospels and how Jesus put the nature of God, because he said, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father.
Exactly. Yeah. He's our model.
Yes.
For what love looks like. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
That's good. Yeah, because I think that when you step into an understanding of your identity, you're able to connect, your true identity. You connect with God in a way that is different than because it takes away the striving, and it takes away the trying to be accepted, and it takes away the I'm going to earn his love, which is not how God works at all.
Right.
It's just, I am a daughter or a son of Christ, and I am a son or daughter of the Most High God, and I am accepted in the Beloved. And
Right.
so when we get past the striving to be accepted, and we just
Yes.
feel like we are,
Yes.
it takes a lot of the barriers down that we have, and as we connect with God from that true place, there's something that happens in that does bring about an understanding of what our commission is on this earth.
Right.
There's an understanding that we step into of what are my permissions in God.
Right.
You know, and permissions are not negative. You know, permissions are about freedom, because it is for freedom's sake that Christ set us free. So the permissions are learning how to live in the freedom that Christ set us free for.
Right.
And then learning what our authority is in that, and being able to walk that out, you know.
Right.
And I think that as we continue this series, because this is actually a 3-part series,
Yes.
and this is a 3-part series on transformation. And as we go to the next one and we talk about transformation and prepare for action, and what that looks like, there is this place where we are stepping into what it is to really, what the mind of Christ really looks like. And I love, Sharon, that you brought the scriptures in, because that is where we will see what the mind of Christ looks like. And I love that. Do you have anything to add before we wrap up this part 1?
No, I think this is in a good place. I think this is a solid foundation for transformation. And it's about knowing who your God is.
Exactly. And he's an amazing God.
Yes, he is.
Yes. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We look forward to seeing you on part 2 of transformation, as we talk about preparing for action in this next talk. And we just want to thank you guys for being a part of this conversation. For more information about the Warrior Commission, go to thewarriorcommission.com. We have that information in the text, and discover why, as each person invests in engaging with us, they will ultimately find their Warrior Commission, and really through their deeper connection with God that they gain through the training. So we just want to thank you guys. Have a great day, and we will see you guys soon. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.